Hi, Mike Kennedy. We're talking about this hybrid book, and the concept that they're introducing now is landraces. That's one word. Now, let's talk about seeds that we would purchase today. Say I want to plant corn. I can go to the store, and I can pick popcorn, some type of hybrid that's going to be super sweet, sweet corn, dent corn, or field corn. And so I can pick out the type of corn I want. Of course, I have to match that to my growing conditions. They each will have a very predictable number of days to maturity. Probably, if I looked into it more, I could find out how drought resistant they are, or if they can have a lot of water in the soil or not. But all these quantities would be known because of the way we've bred modern plants. We're using genetics, and we have a real good handle on what this particular variety of corn is going to do. Well, that's a new way of doing things. Before, they did the concept which we're calling landraces. And in that concept, rather than having, one pure variety of corn, we have a mixture of corns that we're planting. And we plant them, and each year we save the best for seeds to plant again the next year. And so landraces are very genetically diversified, which also means the corn you get from them is going to be, in this case we're using corn, is going to be genetically diversified too. There might be smaller ears, there might be larger ears, there might be some ears that have some color in them that other ears don't have, but there's going to be a variation between ears of corn depending on what plant they came from and how they were cross-pollinated. But what you have with a landrace, what you have is a huge amount of genetic diversity, and with a purebred you don't. So the landrace has a really unique ability to survive in different conditions. In other words, let's say I plant my purebred corn. It's going to take 78 days to maturity or whatever, and I'm growing it along. All of a sudden we end up with a drought. Maybe there's water regulation, so I can't just lather the water on there, and my corn could die because I know when I planted it that I was going to need quite a bit of water. Well, with the landraces, with this mixture of genes, you have a great diversity in the plants. So there's probably going to be some plants that are more drought resistant than other plants. So no matter kind of what the weather does or different conditions that happen, I'm probably going to get some kind of yield out of my corn, and I'm certainly going to have the seeds to plant the next year. But now we compare that to, let's say we've got a 100 square foot area that we're planting just with corn. We get this amount of corn from that when we do the landrace, but then we go with the purebred kind of corn. And I'm saying purebred just to mean that it's, as a variety, it's more singular and doesn't have a lot of genetic diversity in it. So we plant that, and under ideal conditions we compare the yield between the landraces and the purebred corn. The purebred corn is going to beat it by miles. You're going to get a better yield, you're going to have more uniform ears, all of these things that we kind of want, you're going to have, unless, like I say, if this drought situation happens, maybe that all of those purebred corns die right off, and I'm sunk because I don't have any corn to plant for the next year. Where with this landrace, I still get some yield and some seeds to plant. So landraces favor survivability and sustainability because of this ability to deal with different situations, because of their genetic diversity. you're probably going to continue to get crops no matter what the weather and situation does to you. And with this other thing, you're going to find it's way less tolerant of changes in the weather or the environment or something like, or predation too, the idea that things that want to eat it. Say there's this blight of some kind of bug that comes through. Well, there's going to be naturally some of this other corn that maybe those bugs just aren't going to like as much. So they're going to leave some of that. But the purebred corn, they're just going to eat it all up and it's going to be gone. So if you're a person that is planning to be more self-sufficient, or you have to be because that's the only way you're going to get seed, you're poor, you're living in this area, or it's just the culture at the time way back, you're going to take that seed, you're going to replant it, you're picking the best ones, you're replanting it again. You are doing some selection processes as you go along, but there's still enough genetic diversity in there to handle an upset, where the purebred corn, there just isn't. The upset comes and it goes. We've seen this sort of things. Something's happening currently with bananas. The current banana that you buy everywhere in stores in the United States are basically the exactly same kind. And because they're seedless, they're grown from suckers that come out of the banana plant. So basically these are extremely the same genetically. Well, what's happening? The same thing that happened in the early 1900s with bananas. Some blight came through and killed all the bananas that were being grown, and they had to be replaced eventually with another banana. Well, we're setting ourselves up basically for the same situation. The bananas that are being grown all over the world, not that there aren't 300 varieties probably of bananas, but the ones we want, we like, are having this problem with some type of blight, something that's killing them. And because they're all genetically similar, all of our bananas under cultivation can be wiped out, and eventually there would be so little bananas that they wouldn't even be imported to the United States. So that's the sort of thing that happens when we're working just with one strain with equal genes, with not much diversity at all. So you can see this idea between the two things. If we're interested in getting the highest yield, uniformity, what consumers like, we want to do crops that will bring us in cash, we tend to go towards these purebreds. But if our goal more is to have this garden that's going to sustain itself, that we're going to save seeds and we're going to continue on with it, that's going to be the much better choice, because these people don't necessarily have access to seed catalogs. And two, some people would claim with certain things like corn, soybeans, and everything, that even the different varieties we have are still so genetically similar that, again, one blight could come through and kill everything. Where in this landrace concept, that doesn't apply as much because there is this genetic diversity. So to sum it up, landraces, genetic diversity, able to withstand changes in the environment and the way they're grown, lower yield than the purebred. Then we go to the purebred or the hybrid crop. With it, everything's uniform. The corn grows the same height, the ears grow the same length. Everything's really the same, which facilitates picking by machine, selling in grocery stores, and all of these things that favors, but it doesn't favor ability to adapt to a new environment. So the land races was the way it was always done before, and we've shifted over to this model. Although there are more people interested in this other thing of maybe getting back to these landrace ideas for having the potential to withstand changes in the environment, which many people believe are happening now at quite a high pace. So that's it. Landraces, tell me what you think. Bye.